hellish like prison. We tried to do some. We were watching the kids without schools, without electricities, without TVs. They weren't allowed to play on the streets. They were in a very desperate climate, full of violence, full of bloodshed, killing, and that was very heartbreaking to us. So we tried to do something to the kids. We have to save their childhood. We have to keep them busy, to help them survive. So we tried to make like basements, safe basements. We collected the kids in every neighborhood, and we tried to give them some educational lessons, like in basic subjects, Arabic, English, and mathematics. And also we tried to do some entertainment to them, some psychological activities to them. And after Ramadan, we made like a party. It was, we call it Declaration Number 1. At this party, so it's working. So at this in this party, the bride here is Mu'adamiya, and the kids were greeting it. They were trying to promise it that they will stay strong. They have learned a lot from the siege. They have learned a lot from the suffering, and they promised Mu'adamiya that they will go back to their schools, to their playgrounds, to their houses. We tried to return the happy meaning of Eid to their memories, because as Amina told you, that Eid in Mu'adamiya was linked to atrocities, to brutalities, to a lot of painful things in their memories since the beginning of the revolution. After that, we continued our struggle. We continued, but the chemical attack happened, and Amina told you about that day. It was a very difficult day, and I really don't want to talk about it. But people start dying from the hunger. The suffering was more stronger than us. The siege was more difficult to us. You wake up in the morning on the cries of the kids, asking their parents that they want to eat, they want to make milk, they want something to eat. You also hear their cries in the evening. They couldn't sleep because they were hungry. Pregnant women was giving birth to dead babies. Also, a lot of families who doesn't have anything to eat, they may take the risk and go to the trees, which were exposed to the mountains, and they try to pick some figs or some leaves and cook them for their kids. A lot of mothers were trying to cook water with spices and salt and feed it to their kids as a soup. And that sometimes you may hear the knocking on your doors, and when you open it, you will find a baby or a kid holding a plate and asking you for something to eat. At that time, you have a very big and difficult struggle, that if you will give him something, if you already have something to give him, you will die because you have a very little amount of food, or you have to just close the door and say, I'm sorry, I can't give you anything. In October 2013, the same killer, the same detainer at our town, who was killing everyone who were trying to escape the city. And because of the delegation in Geneva too, and because in a healthy political game. He just opened a way from Muhammad and allowed the women and the kids to live it. So me and my cousin that day, or the next evacuation, I was forced by my brother because he was feeling painful that he can't find anything to give me to eat. And sometimes I had a lot of struggle that I have a little amount of food and I have to give it to my brother or I have to eat it. So my brother forced me to go out to Malamia and also Amina and their family. At that day, the regime bring with him nuns, bring the Red Cross and Red Crescent, and some soldiers and some members from Hezbollah. And they were very humiliating. At the first day of the evacuation, they were very kind and they were very gentle with the people. They were hugging them and handing them bread and water as if they were saving them from the terrorists who were detaining them in Mauritania. The next day, the first day, it was their biggest day. It was their the day that they want to show to the media and to the whole world that they are the savior of those people. The next day, they were very cruel. They hit us, they humiliated us, they forced us to chant Bashar al-Assad also. Then, because of the pressure and because everybody was in the world was watching this kind of evacuation, they couldn't arrest any of us. I mean, from the activists, from women. But when we stayed in Damascus, for a month. He tried to reach all the activists, so he arrested some of our friends and family members in order to detain us. And in December, we realized that we have to leave the country because we are causing some harm to our friends and families. So we fled the country to Lebanon illegally. And then we went to Istanbul, and there we had this chance to come here and tell your stories. Thank you for listening.